Brad Williams, Excel primed, rows. Row and rows. We'll get to columns later, but here is your intro to rows. Rows and columns can get complicated because we use rows to count. Well, I've shown in the past how we want to check out relative rows. Well, we're going to use the rows function and then the row function. What are we talking about? Well, the row is just going to give us the row. Okay, it's going to be this number here. Rows returns the number of rows in an array. So what does that mean? That means returns the number of rows in a list. The Excel rows function returns the count of rows in a given reference. Remember we were starting off before, we did rows B5, and we put it into, well, we put the first expression, the B5, into an absolute terms, and then we left the other B5 in relative terms. And what did it do? It just counted one. And then we copied down, we counted those two rows, and that's why we had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Rows function returns the count of rows in a given reference. For example, rows D1 to D5 returns 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since the range 1 through 5 contains 5 rows. The rows function returns the number of rows, as I just stated. Use the rows function to determine the number of rows within a given reference or list or range. For instance, there are 10 rows in the range. Just go 1 through 10. A through F, doesn't matter what this letter is. All we're doing is going from here, 1 to, well, we're going down to 10. It doesn't matter if it's F10 or AA10, we're going here. If we just look, doesn't matter what letter we're looking at, we're just going through 1 through 10. Don't let this letter F10 distract you. A to Z100 is 100. You can also use the rows function to get the number of rows in a list. Why do you see list array? Well, some of you guys are going to be perfectionists and you're going to go, Brad, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong. I use the word list, you can use the word array. I don't care. If you're going to be that picky, use array. I use list. Potato, potato. Tomato, tomato. Even though there's no built-in function for counting the number of cells in a range or list, or whatever you want to call it, you can use the rows and columns function to do this. So here, row. We're looking at rows here, but row is just going to count this. That's it. It's not going to do any other dance. Rows, on the other hand, B14 to B14 is what? Well, look at B14. You can say B14 plus B14. Well, it's 1. B1 to D26. As I just explained, don't let this 26 distract you. Rows, we're going from 1 to 26. What is it? 26. A3 to D105. 103. Rows A to S. Do not use this format. If you leave this open like this, it's going to count everything here. So it's 1, 0, 4, 8, 5, 7, 6. It's counting every row. How do I know that? Go down here. Go hit end. And what is this? 104, 8, 5, 6. This is a blanket format. If you incorporate this into other arrays or other formulas or other expressions or other anything else, you're going to get all the stuff. Okay, you can have stuff over here and call them AZ whatever, and you're not aware of it. In the end, it could bite you. I don't encourage this broad approach. Here, rows, well, 1, 2, 3. A constant list. 1 to 1002. That's it. That's the first look at rows. We're going to dive into this extensively. We're going to start counting rows and we're going to put in expanding ranges, and we're going to do that with both columns and rows. That's forthcoming. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Thanks.